I wonder if Alec Baldwin is going to set a precedent for how to shoot somebody and get away with the crime. This is Alan with Quarter Horse Arms, and in this podcast, we're talking about Alec Baldwin in the news again. There's a whole bunch of stuff surrounding it, not the least of which is the prosecutors spending more time talking to the press than perhaps they should be focusing on the case. So, the initial thing that caught my eye was that the prosecutors had to drop the charges down to manslaughter. They had to remove the enhancement because the law wasn't actually in effect when the shooting took place. Well, I guess when the gun went off. So far, the movie producers or whoever got hit with a $100,000 fine for violating the New Mexico OSH Bureau, Office Safety and Occupational Safety and Health. So kind of like OSHA, but at the state level. The claim is from Alec Baldwin that the gun went off. Well, it's a single-action revolver, and we all know that if you hold a gun long enough, it's likely to go off in your hand. Well, that's a load of crap. There's really only two instances where a gun would go off. One, when you pull the trigger, and the other in cases of some single-action pistols. I'm not sure if it's true for the Pieta, but if you smash the hammer hard enough on a chamber with a live round in it, there is a slight possibility of it going off. But pulling the trigger on a single-action revolver only works if the hammer is cocked back. It won't fire from the half-cocked position because that's actually how you load the gun. You've got to pull the hammer out of the way of the cylinder, so you've got to put the striker portion back so that you can rotate the cylinder and unload the gun or load the gun. All right, so, Alec Baldwin is claiming he did not pull the trigger. It just went off. Okay, well, if you guys actually believe that, come, and give me a call. I might have some swamp land somewhere you might be very interested in. Okay, so in his first court appearance, basically said that he was pointing a pistol when the gun went off. He also skipped his first court appearance, which, doesn't really bode well for you. I mean, if you're taking responsibility in any way, shape, or form, especially if you're being charged with manslaughter, maybe you should show up to court. A couple other things have come out as well. Obviously, the armorer was also charged with manslaughter. I guess, and rightfully so. I mean, it was her responsibility. On the other hand, some of the news that came out was that Alec Baldwin was on the phone during the gun safety lectures. On a TV interview, he said that he didn't pull the trigger. So I guess the gun had a mind of its own. Now, I've had my hands on Pieta revolvers, and, my impression of them is that they're very well-made guns. They're phenomenal replicas of, early firearms. Okay, so he's getting hit with a fourth-degree felony, and, that's 18 months in prison. From start to finish, he has blamed other people. And I guess that's his prerogative. I mean, it's always somebody else's fault. And it comes back to some of the more basic things. He killed somebody. He wounded somebody else. The witnesses that have stepped forward, and there's been some stuff published in the news, was that he was pointing the gun not only at his friend, the woman that was killed, but he was also pointing it at some of the crew members who have since brought a lawsuit, and they're claiming hearing injuries, vibrational shock, whatever the hell that is, trauma. Well, I could see that happening, and they're suing because the producers did nothing to do any kind of trauma interventions with the people that were there. So why don't we go back to the beginning? It was a Pieta 45 long Colt, single action pistol. The first question I would ask is, why was there a live gun on the set? Second thing, why was there live ammunition on the set? Third, he had every reason to believe that gun was loaded. I mean, if you take any kind of firearm safety courses, one of the first tenets is treat every gun as if it were loaded. Second, keep the muzzle in a safe direction. Third, know your target and what's beyond your target. So, I guess he had targeted the assistant director. Keep your finger outside the trigger guard. Only point at something when you intend to shoot. And let's go back to the first one again. Always treat it as if it was loaded. So, while Mr. Baldwin was busy practicing his quick draw, and that was actually stated by witnesses, he had absolutely no reason to point a weapon, live or dummy or prop gun, at somebody. It's just uncalled for. Okay, so obviously the armorer claims he wasn't paying attention during the rifle or the weapon safety lecture. He failed to even consider the NRA's safety principles. Now, why would he do that? He doesn't like the NRA. He doesn't like pro-Second Amendment. In fact, he's been vehemently opposed to gun rights, gun ownership. And that brings me to the hypocrisy of what he has done. If you are that anti-gun, what were you doing with a real gun in your hands? In fact, why are you making a movie that clearly has gun violence in it? Because you got a gun. What he should have said, being a anti-Second Amendment mouthpiece, meaning he gets out there. There are people that are famous that use their fame to promote their beliefs and help organizations do that, which he has done. That's fine. What he should have said was, no, I'm not going to make this movie because it has guns. Or, barring that, maybe he should have said, give me a role where I don't have to touch a gun. So he goes against all of his beliefs, which now you have to question, are they really beliefs, or is he doing it for popularity, get more notoriety? So what does he do? He takes a gun, points it at somebody, and pulls the trigger. And then says, it wasn't me. So apparently maybe the Pieta firearm liked him so little that it just said, I'm going to shoot and get out of this movie. Now, I hope for everyone else's sake that he actually winds up with responsibility for the shooting. However, they're shifting the movie to Montana. So they went to a new site, and I hope they're a lot more careful, because I looked it up. Negligent homicide in Montana, you can get a $50,000 fine and up to 20 years in prison. And maybe his crew and fellow castmates should be wearing body armor. Okay, enough said so far, because I'm sure there's going to be more out about the Rust shooting. So I look forward to hearing comments, questions, concerns, ideas. You can call or text to 919-808-6480. You can email to info@quarterhorsearms.com. This is Alan with Quarter Horse Arms in Snow Camp, North Carolina. Be safe out there. Have a great day.